my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, it is a Patreon pick, and it's our good friend and supporter, Justin. And this one is from 1992, Dave, and this one stars John Turturro, Bob Nelson, and Mr. Mel Smith. Yes, Mr. Mel Smith from Smith & Jones, Dave. So I do want to talk about him. It is a comedy, American comedy, and it's called Brain Donors. So, Dave, had you even heard of this movie, or have you seen it previously?
No, I had never heard of this before, like probably most people, I think. It seemed to be marketed particularly poorly. I don't think the studio really had the full force. They didn't have the confidence in pushing this one. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. You know, when we looked at it last week, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. I noticed that Griff Rhys-Jones wasn't in this. I seem to remember you saying, oh, fucking hate Griff Rhys-Jones. No, he's not in this. Mel Smith is, though. But I tell you what, it took me back to when I actually really liked the Three Stooges. So... This is a real callback, which is, I guess, why we're on this podcast. But thinking back to that time, you know, the pre-DVD, pre-Netflix age, when fucking English TV was rubbish, wasn't it, Chris? I mean, it was just rubbish. You're watching... Like, and again, when you're a kid and it's raining outside, you can't go out on your bike or whatever, and you're watching fucking endless reruns of the Three Stooges, of Laurel and Hardy and stuff. And I know there's a big, heavy influence of the Marx Brothers in this, and in particular, I think they come through more than anything else. I think John Turturro, you know, he's straight. You just stick a big mustache on him, and it's like, all right, he's in a Marx Brothers comedy. So this reminded me more of that, of being a kid and really enjoying those. And did you ever? I can't remember. Did you ever have an Amiga, Chris?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Did you have that Three Stooges game?
No, luckily I didn't. Sensible Soccer for me, that was the main one.
I say that in my memory, Sensible Soccer came out a little bit after the Three Stooges. But yeah, I mean, I think I've spoken about it before. They used to have these, let's call them computer clubs, Chris, where basically you just go there with your Amiga and you go with a big stack of floppy disks and you just copy each other's games. In open sight, like the biggest fucking scam. And, you know, they just rent a community hall. So you had to pay, like, I don't know, it was probably $5 or something to get in. And, yes, they were making money off it, but it was all just based on piracy.
Can't remember that, Dave. I remember I didn't have an Amiga first time round. I got one in about 98. One of my friends was getting rid of his. And I played on it. If you used to play Premier Manager, I used to love that. I mean, one of my mates had it. So he had the Amiga SNES and we had a Mega Drive. So he had like all bases covered. So I never needed to get one, if you know what I mean. But then my two brother-in-laws, they used to go and all the time and do the swapping and just go every Monday somewhere in Manchester and do exactly what you've just said and just take a load of fucking floppy disks and just basically someone to buy one copy and then it'd end up at about 100 fucking Amigas, wouldn't it? And then I've still got actually in my football collection of games, and I haven't got an Amiga now, is I've got Sensible World of Soccer. Still got it with the floppy disks and the box as well. Sensible Soccer in my collection with the Pro Evos and the Japanese Pro Evos with 11 games and all that, and FIFA 94 and stuff. So yeah, I've still got it. So yeah, love the Amiga.
So it reminded me. I really quite liked the Three Stooges game, and I went on YouTube and found, you know, some footage because in my head, I'm like, oh, this. I seem to remember it was quite hard, and when you used to fail, you used to get. I can't remember which one it is. Larry I don't know, the one with the big... Because Curly was the one with the bald head, wasn't he? It wasn't him. It was the one with the actual curly hair. And he's holding this broken violin. He's going, oh, my Stradivarius. It's just over and over. I just remember hearing that. But yeah, I used to love the Three Stooges. And I think one of the things was, it's black and white. It was obviously from a bygone era. But... I mean, the violence, even in the 80s, the only thing you had that had made it was something like Itchy and Scratchy on The Simpsons. They kind of already toned down the violence. And in the early 90s for this movie, obviously that doesn't play a part in this. But yeah, I used to love the Three Stooges, and that kind of slapstick comedy, I think in that time really worked.
Yeah, that time.
And that's what I'll say. But how about you, Chris?
No, so I've never even heard of this. And it's funny you said, I'm just looking now, Moe's the one who was like the one who had the bowl cut, who's like the leader of the Three Stooges, Dave, No, I've never heard of this. John Turturro, I remember from obviously Transformers years later. He was in the first couple of Transformers. One, he kept popping up. He was one of the main characters in the first one, really. Which I've seen, Dave. They are looking at doing an MCU type universe crossover with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. Now, Megan Fox, one of my all-time crushes, Dave. She looked like a virtual robot in that Netflix show, which was weird, but also quite arousing. But there you go. And she let the guy do whatever she wants as a robot, a cybernetic robot, and told his wife. But that was weird. But anyway, carry on, Chris. So I'm getting sidetracked. But
come back.
No, so remembering from Transformers. Anyway, so fuck all to do with this movie. But no, I would never have come across this. Obviously, at the time this came out, like 1992, so I would have been 14, something like that. There is not a chance that I rented this movie. I don't even think, looking at the VHS cover, it even got released in the UK. I'd be absolutely amazed. It only made $900,000 in the US box office. I've never heard of this movie because Mel Smith at the time, obviously, Smith and Jones, and I fucking hated them, Dave. I hated them.
I didn't like them either. There was some
fucking
when they used to do that thing where they're just facing off against each other.
Oh, I hated it.
I really didn't like it either.
I hated it. And then it always reminded me of like comic relief. So you'd get Lenny Emery, fucking Dawn French, Jennifer Saunders, these two bellends, and you get fucking Blackadder. Well, I don't mind fucking Blackadder, you know what I mean? Like I love Blackadder. I never liked Mr. Bean, but Rowan Atkinson and all. There was always always a clique of the same fucking dead legs had come out, and all this stuff. And these two I never found them funny. I just thought they were fucking shit. And that thing, I can see Mel Smith, he was always on the right hand side. He's like, yeah. Let's talk about that. I'm like, but it's not even fucking funny, you dicks. It's it's not funny. It's fucking a load of fucking pretentious wankers who've spent too much time in the fucking library thinking that they're hilarious doing observational fucking comedy bollocks. What a load of shit. Give me Russ Abbott and fucking Les Dennis any day of the week. Despite all
what an atmosphere that would be.
Whoa. You're here all week, Dave. But yeah, I never got it. The thing about Mel Smith at all. I just never understood. I know Griffith Jones did sort of acting as well, but together, I just hated that. Like you say, that whole thing, what do you think about this? And I'd be like, this is fucking shit. I don't get the comedy. You're trying to be too clever for me, and I just think it's absolute nonsense. But he made a career out of it, to be fair. Ended up in a bloody Hollywood movie. Yeah, I don't know how, but unbelievable.
I think this was obviously his time, wasn't it, where he was trying to break into Hollywood, get the bigger paying gigs, I guess. But it's funny. I wondered what you'd have thought of Griffith Jones, or Alas Smith and Jones, I think it was called, wasn't it? And I don't know what it was. It just didn't hit for me at all. I love things like Blackadder, The Young Ones, stuff like that. Growing up, that was and again the Three Stooges, as I said when I was younger. But anyway, Chris, apart from all of those other things to get by the fact that we'd never heard of this thing, shall we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
Roll up, take flag fires. I'm turning it low. Don't try to get up.
We're both fine.
Wow!
I know what I'm doing. Aren't those numbers clicking by awfully fast?
You're probably a speed reader.
Well, you got me there. See some experiment that went wrong?
Why don't we step outside and settle this like men?
We are outside.
Now why don't we step inside and settle this like women?
I'm twice the man you are.
So is she. And it's driving me mad.
You looked 18, officer, I swear.
You're gonna spank me?
We can start there. I could make love to you right here and now.
Roland, please. Let's keep this on a professional level.
Very well, then I'll charge you $50 a pop.
Huh?
This is ludicrous. Society's to blame. There's too much violence in the movie. It's my environment. We were carrying out orders.
It's the Japanese for buying up everything! The operation is a success!
After the death of tycoon and philanthropist Oscar Winterhaven Oglethorpe, it's easy for you to say, a ballet company is founded in his name by his widow Lillian. Ambulance-chasing attorney Roland T. Flackpfizer competes against Oglethorpe's former attorney, Edmund Laszlo, to be the director of the company. Laszlo is chosen for the position after signing the greatest ballet dancer in the world, Robert the Great Volar. Right, I've had enough of these fucking names. Hey, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, you see, I know we were talking about the Three Stooges, but this is just purely Marx Brothers rip-off, isn't it? The whole thing is the Marx Brothers. Like, John Turturro's character is Groucho Marx. You know, you've got the whole skit there. They're not as obvious with like Mel Smith's character and everything, but then Bob Nelson is also playing like one of the Marx Brothers as well. It's just what I found interesting with this is I'll lay it on the cards. There is no heel turn. There is no me going, this is the greatest movie ever. This movie's fucking bobbins, right? And it's really terrible. There's a couple of things that are really good in it though, Dave. The opening intro, which goes on for fucking 5 minutes of like these claymation thing of the three characters, is great. The movie also runs for 1 hour, 19 minutes. They're the two things that I take positives out of this movie. So I'm going to roll my sleeves up and say this. What I found watching it is Turturro's character, why they didn't just say, and he based his whole character, this Roland T. Flackpfizer is actually based on Groucho Marx's character in one of the movies from 1933. He's doing the jokes and he's doing the fast, like we meet him and he's doing the fast like little jokes, and there's a couple of little things in there which were completely obvious. I watched loads of, I don't know if you did, but I watched loads of the Marx Brothers when we were kids, and I loved Groucho Marx and stuff. He was always like do that stupid walk with a cigar, didn't he, and all that, and he'd be like, you know, literally on the floor the way he walked and stuff, and that was the Groucho Marx like walk, and it was like a pop culture thing. Even when we were kids, I used to do the Groucho Marx. You do it, you know, you could do it, but I find that like it just doesn't work in 1992. It just does not work, and it's trying to be this romp, like they're in the vehicle together, and I've seen that in films. And Mel Smith's the taxi driver, then he gets in the back, and all three of them are fucking sat in the back. Well, what's that, 5 minutes, you know? And I'm like, you are just ripping it off. It was like watching a school play where they're reenacting a scene from a movie, you know, and it's funny, they're playing characters or whatever, but the fact that this has been made like 50 years later or 60 years later, it was like the 30s when the Marx Brothers out, is baffling for me. And I just find that it is like a Timu version of the Marx Brothers, but there's just no fun in it, if that makes sense. Some of his lines are very quick. If you listen to some of the things he said, he's quite interesting. But ultimately, we've ended up reviewing a fucking movie about a ballet fucking company this week, Dave, which I found even more fucking brilliant by Justin. I've got to say, it's just a brilliant pick, because I was like, at the end of the movie, I was like, well, hang on a minute, this is all centered around a ballet company, really. It's not about one of the Marx Brothers. It's just one. So that is like a 1930s movie, isn't it? You know, like it's like one of them the centre of the earth is this ballet company. It's almost fucking No Shit, No Surrender, or fucking the Karate Kid. You know, like the whole world is centred on karate, or fucking, you know, Russian fucking gangsters taking over dojos in fucking Seattle and all that crap. But so it's an interesting concept. But again, how this got greenlit 60 years later, I do not know, because it's absolutely awful.
Well, I think there were production troubles, and I think the studio was not fucking that happy about it. I don't think either. But Chris, this is made by the Zucker brothers. So I mean, just looking at Jerry Zucker, so you know, directed Airplane, Top Secret. Gotta go back to Top Secret at one point. He co-created Police Squad, you know, which obviously went on to be Naked Gun, and directed Ghost. He's got some good stock. But what I think this is, I didn't enjoy it. However, I can I imagine, I mean, I guess Justin enjoys it, or it's a stitch-up. It's the year of the stitch-up after all.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I think some people would watch it and maybe enjoy it. But for me, it's a film out of time. It's trying to be the Marx Brothers, and I guess they're trying to do that homage to it. But there's something about it in the 90s setting that just does not work for me. I think the main actors kind of have a bit of a chemistry, but not that much. I can't really get past the fact it's Mel Smith, you know, playing Rocco there. And it's just, it's a bridge too far. You know, it's almost like, Chris, you know, when we watched, is it not Fatal Attraction, Fatal Instinct?
Yes.
When we watched that, and I was like, oh, shit, you know, it seems to have all the hallmarks, you know, all the beats of say, a Naked Gun, trying to play it serious, but, you know, being utterly ridiculous and slapstick. But this, in Brain Donors, it's very much, you know, the slapstick goes into overdrive. And I think if it was the Marx Brothers, you were watching this in black and white, and it was this old, you know, pre-Second World War setting in the 20s or 30s or something. I think maybe I'd forgive it a little bit more. But yeah, I just found the tone of this was just too much. And I think comedy does change. And I think just having that out of sequence, you know, out of time film, I just found really, really jarring watching this.
Yeah, I agree. There's a bit at the start. So when they go to like the ballet company, and that, obviously the main ballet guy is an absolute wanker, and he's obviously after the girls. I mean, what I found bizarre is mid fucking performance, he just looks down this blonde girl's like cleavage and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna have a bit of her." Like he's like the whole room's just been paused while he ogles this blonde girl who's obviously with the other guy, and then she ends up in his room. But then Turturro ends up like he's about to corner her. He comes out the toilet, and then we get a couple of jokes. "Oh yeah, you need toilet roll," and everything. I'm like, right, this isn't funny. And then he says something like, there's one bit where I was like, oh, I get the joke. It's hard. It is proper Groucho Marx. He says something about, do you like this? And he gives the guy or the woman, or whoever, I think it's a woman actually, money. And it's a bit of a joke. And the only bit that I thought was okay in the whole movie was when he's in the hospital and he's handing out his business cards. And then he goes to give a business card to someone who's dead. They go, "Oh, he's dead." He goes, "Oh, I'll take that back. He won't be needing that." And it's not even amusing, but it's sort of, you know, "I need the cards" or something, he says. So there's loads of these little one-liners that Groucho Marx would do that if you didn't listen, you would miss that humour. And I sort of like that humour normally, but I'm with you. Like, I just kept laughing at fucking Fred Elliott. I mean, he's gone straight from this movie to Coronation Street. It's fucking, you know, it is a bad move. John Savidan, you know, and we always, in our family, always do the fucking, you know, I say. And one of my brothers always says, he goes, "I've got my dick sucking a bacon slice at Ashley," you know, and all that. "Oh, Uncle Fred, you know, and just like,
that was a good Ashley, that.
Well, fuck off. So you've got Bane, fucking the Highlander, and I've got Ashley from fucking Coronation Street. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, the fucking peak. Fucking Batman. You should be saying Batman. No, fucking Ashley fucking thingy. What was he called? What's it? Ashley Elliott or fucking Corrie. Fucking hell.
You were slating me pre-recorded, you were slaying me for my Steve McDonald's tangent, and you whip out fucking Ashley from Coronation Street.
It's one of my party pieces, Dave. I do it, and people just look at me, like the old Eric Hitchmo. Like, who the fuck's that? I don't believe that in the workplace. And he's like, no, that's not it. Who's that?
That's no Coventry Conference. No.
Let me tell you, I've got one more thing. I don't believe that in the workplace.
Oh my word.
Oh my fucking God. I can't believe he's just done that. What a highlight. We've got Dave here, can pull out any voice. Chris has got Ashley. I had that once, actually. I remember being in Benidorm, 98. I think I've told this story, actually, on here, so I apologise. And my mate got talking to this woman, and we were like 18. So it's before I was with Sam, and we're all there, thinking we're fucking big dicks and all that. And my mate had a leather jacket on in Benidorm, because I remember coming down the stairs, and this old bloke, it's about 30 degrees.
Sweating.
Yeah, and he went, and my mate just got this black leather jacket when he started work, and thought he was, I don't know if he thought he was fucking James Dean or fucking Danny Zuko or something, but he went, yeah, all the girls love it. Right now, bear in mind, this is the same mate who's a City fan, who in 98 wore a United shirt for the whole week, because apparently he could cop off with girls, and I don't think he copped off once, Dave. But so this is the level you're dealing with, and he'll never admit that, but I've got pictures of him in the United shirt and everything. Just my shirt, just so he thought he'd cop off with the girls, because we were so popular at the time. Anyway, so he has his leather jacket on, and this old bloke goes, "Where are you going, lad?" "North Pole." And my mate was fuming. So he runs up the stairs, takes the jacket off. He ends up chatting to this woman and chatting away. And she's about 35, so he's about 18. And I think she even had a fucking son with her somewhere, like with a mum or something. I'm like, why is she in the clubs in Benidorm? Obviously, after a booty call, he's chatting away to her. And I just started talking to her, and he went, "Oh, it's my mate." My mate was useless at chatting, so I'm come over, fucking chatting some bollocks. And she went, "You know what? You don't half remind me of, who is it? Oh, you don't have, I can't, but he's one of my favourite out of her. Take that." And I was like, "What? Oh, I love him. Yeah. Mark Owen." Oh, Dave, I was fucking fuming. I was like, fucking Mark Owen. You could have said like Liam Gallagher or something. It was out at the time, or Noel, or some fucking Mancunian with a bit of credit. Fucking Mark. Oh, you've got that voice like him. And I was like, "No, I haven't. What are you talking about?" I had a complex of mums go, "Do I sound like Mark Owen?" Because he's like, "Yeah, you're all right. I'm Mark Owen." I'm like, I don't fucking sound like that. But I was fuming, Dave. I was fuming. Pulling them all out today. Mark Owen, Ashley from Corrie.
It's probably the curtains, I'm imagining. The Benidorm 90s curtains.
Yes, I did have the curtains. The grey now, but the brown flowing locks were there, Dave. I had the curtains. But yeah, I was fuming with that. So anyway, but yeah, so and I know in real life, John Savardon, he was a top actor, wasn't he? He was like massive on the stage, everything. He was a huge like theatre actor and everything. So when he came into Corrie, that voice was put on. He would speak. The only eyelash, he'd be very like, "Oh yes," he'd speak like that, and a very Shakespearean sort of thing. But yeah, he's the one thing I can't take out of it. But he obviously nosedived his career, because he ended up in fucking Weatherfield about 6 months later.
Oh God. Well, on that note, so I think, again, I bear in mind, maybe I think if I'd have watched this as a kid, and maybe if it had come out earlier than 1992, I think I'd have found it funny. I think I'd have found some bits. And again, it's not pretending that it's something else. It's not trying to subtly get in jokes. It does have that kind of formula of a naked gun or an airplane or something, where the jokes are just absolutely relentless. I mean, Flackvisor, when you first introduced to him, he's this dodgy attorney, isn't he? This dodgy lawyer, and he's literally chasing the ambulance, as the saying goes, ambulance chaser. And then he's squirting tomato sauce over the driver. He's trying to get a kid. He's putting this neck brace on the kid and saying, you can sue your parents and stuff. They're all kind of the very obvious jokes. And I can see that probably when they were making this movie, the Zuckers, they probably loved those Marx Brothers movies growing up. And this was the attempted homage to them. But there's just something missing, like Fatal Instinct. I just think there's something missing from it. because I don't think Turturro does a bad job. I think the fact that with his performance, the cadence of how he's saying all of those, jokes, the quick fire thing, the way he's leching after Lillian Oglethorpe, played by Nancy Merchant, obviously mummy soprano there. And she was also in Naked Gun, wasn't she? And we did that a few months ago. But you're just literally picturing Groucho Marx, aren't you? So the fact that he's doing that, I think, is good. I think Mel Smith is almost channeling Curly, but there's something missing that it just doesn't land for me.
No, and I think you're right. I think I think his performance is not bad, and I'm totally with you on that. I think the whole Groucho Marx thing works for him. But I don't think Bob Nelson's so fucking annoying through it. Like, some of the things they've got him doing in this, like when he goes to the cop shop, and it is like that Laurel and Hardy, like slapstick stuff in it, and he goes and he's doing all these tricks. The cop had just pulled a gun out and shot the fucker, but the cop was there. Nobody in the background is even bothered about this bloke who's got the copper in a fucking headlock. He's got like things wrapped around his neck. He's choking him, but nobody steps in, do they, at all? And he's pulling things out of his fucking sleeves like it's a magic trick and all. And it's like, I get the humour, I've seen it, but it's 1992. Obviously, it's fucking old. It's 32 years ago now, but this was like 60 years after the Marx Brothers. The only way that would work is if John Turturro was playing and doing a biopic on Groucho Marx, and they were showing scenes from the movies, like when they're like cut and then he comes off and he's unhappy or whatever is going on in his life and all that sort of thing, and they're showing it. Like, I watched that Judy Garland one a few years ago, and it was really awful the way she got treated, but the show must go on. They play this character, so I could get him playing that. But I also think if you're going to go down the Marx Brothers, Bob Nelson, Mel Smith's characters have got to play the other two, Harpo and what the other one was called, whatever he's called, the two brothers with the blonde wig and stuff. They've got to play them characters as well, and I just don't think it hits. I think what lets him down is, I think his performance, and you're right, he's literally beat for beat Groucho Marx, but it's the actual script and everything else. And obviously Laszlo's fucking rubbish. Edmund Laszlo. I mean, I keep saying Laszlo. Laszlo's the main character in GTA all the way through Grand Theft Auto. He's the radio producer. I've actually just cut his hair off yesterday, Dave, because I'm replaying Grand Theft Auto 5 as we speak on my Steam Deck. So they've just cut Laszlo's hair off. So every time I saw him, I was like, yeah, that's GTA. But I just don't think John Savadon and everything, it's just, there's no, because it's about the ballet school, there's no like jeopardy to the show, is there? It feels like that it's just a Marx Brothers half-hour sketch, really, that we're watching in an extended movie. It's bizarre.
We were talking about the Three Stooges, and they made 190 short subject films.
Fucking hell.
190. They would churn out this shit. And as you were talking then, I just had another depressing thought, and it's going to sound possibly stupid, right? But we're talking about the Marx Brothers, and when we were kids watching the old reruns and enjoying them and everything. I mean, they started in the 20s. Chris, we're in the 20s. You're talking about comedy from where we're standing now 100 years ago.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. I mean, do you think in 100 years they're going to remember our impressions, Dave? My Ashley one.
The fucking Ashley one, yeah.
Who's Ashley? Fucking Ashley Peacock. Is that Ashley Elliott? Is it Ashley
Peacock? Yes.
Not Elliott. I'm thinking Fred Elliott. But I think as well, you're right, because as a kid, and I'd still stand by it, Laura and Hardy, I still love Laura and Hardy. I think the comedy is fantastic. My youngest sister loves Laura and Hardy. She's 25. She loves them. Grew up in that. But my favourite was a UK comic of all. And, I'm not saying as if you don't know who it is, but Norman Wisdom. We used to watch a bit of George Foreman. I love Norman Wisdom. On the Beat, I love Square Peg when he's in the army. And there's a scene in that I still buzz off where the army are doing that walk, and you've got that stern fucking sergeant with the moustache, and he's going left, right, and he's digging a hole. He's always called Norman Pitkin, one, and he's digging a hole there like his roadworks, and he's going left, and they're like hopping, and then he's like dismiss for tea. I can still watch it and laugh at that sort of thing and get that comedy. The Marx Brothers, I watched a lot of, but it was more summer holiday stuff. But Norman Wisdom and Laurel and Hardy were my favourites over all of them. So I could still watch them, and I'd sit here and I probably couldn't be subjective and go, yeah, it's pretty shit, but it's not funny now, because they were brilliant movies. But this is a homage to something that I think, why would you homage it? Like you say, you're right. This 1933 is the rip-off of this move that they're doing. 1992 they've done it, 1933. So you're right, we're nearly 90 years. 91 years past when the original Marx Brothers movie that this is based on came out, which is unbelievable. It's the Marx Brothers Night at the Opera, 1935. So he's 89 years old. That's what this is based off, which is unbelievable. And his character was Rufus T. Firefly. That was Groucho Marx. And I remember that. I've seen that one, Rufus T. Firefly. But yeah, bizarre.
Yeah, and I can imagine, if you transported this movie back to that time, you sat somehow at home, you've got fucking rickets and shit. You're just you're seeing people like, you say in the police place, and he's sort of pumping up his, he's got the valve in his mouth, hasn't he? He's pumping up his cheeks and stuff. It'd be fucking hilarious, wouldn't it? Because life's shit.
Well, yeah, on that fucking note, it is, Dave, yeah. But no, you're right. I think what's baffled me is there's obviously a budget behind it. It's a comedy, and these comedies, they either hit or they don't they? And this has had a massive cult following because they're looking at some of the info. Apparently, they never released it to the movie critics and that. I wonder why. But once it made its status and money on the VHS, which when we've covered so many movies, haven't we, for years? And when we're doing it, you do come across these cult classics where they were just literally straight to video, but for some reason they get reviewed badly, but actually have this following, don't they, where people get together every year and watch the movie, or these different things that come with it. So it's really interesting that this has got and I was looking online and it's everywhere. There's loads of YouTube stuff on it. And I've never heard of this. But then again, if you're not looking for it, why would you? You're never going to come across it. But bizarre. It's really interesting that it's got such a cult following, but we've done such poor movies at times that you do get these cult followings.
Yeah, I can get it. And again, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to place myself at different times. So if I was maybe 92, 93, watching this, with friends or something, having a few beers, getting drunk, laughing at the silliness. But no, I still don't think I'd find it funny. But I can't completely rule it out. There's some bits, where they're doing the whole in the jungle, the mighty jungle. It's okay. Would I have ever found that funny? And there's just too many bits. And like you say, the whole movie. I just remember John Cleese. I read his book ages ago, and he said he really struggled to break it in movies. Not like the Monty Python movies where you've got the whole comedy troupe there, but for him to write an actual movie, he found really difficult. I think the only thing he sort of holds up there is A Fish Called Wanda. Yeah. And he just said it's really hard to keep that comedy going for the whole movie. And I think, this movie, it is one of those half-hour kind of Three Stooges things, isn't it? Where basically, Groucho Marx, fucking hell, he doesn't age well, does he? If you transport, he's usually trying to swindle some woman out of his
inheritance,
out of her money in some way. That's his whole shtick. And so, Turturro's doing pretty much that. But it doesn't look great, and like I say, the fact that you've got Mummy Soprano there, it just makes it quite bad. And you get this comedy where he thinks he might have to visit her in the bedroom, but then he goes and it's like some fucking page 3 model or something, and then you get this whole comedy bit, which again I'm thinking if you were watching it in black and white from all those years ago, it would have been funny because they've kind of kidnapped the woman, haven't they? And they're trying to move her out of the room, and they're, Laszlo's trying to catch them out and stuff. And I don't know. I can't tell if the lack of the comedy landing is me or it's just the fact the film's shit.
No, the film's shit. I think there's that bit in there at the start where he's talking to that's the line I was trying to think of. He's talking, and the girl's there, the dancer, the blonde girl, and he interrupts the toilet thing, and he says something to her like, "We're going to get married, and I want you to have my kids." And she's like, "Oh yeah," and he went, "Yeah, they're outside in the car," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not a great line, that, to be honest, mate." You know, one of them where you're like, I get it, and he pushes her out the door, doesn't he? Because he's negotiating with that guy. But I sort of like, I get the humour, I get what you're going for, but even though he was quick and it's all like these really intentional one-liners, it's just of a bygone age that's gone. If that makes sense, and that's not a take on. I say John Turturro's performance is good. I think if you said to me, right, he's playing Groucho Marx, I'd go, yeah, he is playing Groucho Marx. He's recreating a movie that they were in, then I would 100% go, you know what, his performance was really good, but the fact that everything else around him is just utter shit, it's a shame, really, because I do think, as we're talking about it, he does deserve some credit, despite the fact that I don't think the movie's great. I think he is the shining light in this movie, and the clay animation at the start, and the 1 hour 20 running time, which is always a bonus. But yeah, there is thing is, he studied Groucho Marx really well, and I'll give him full credit for that. But I just think everything else about the movie is fucking terrible. And I do think what you've hit on, Summit, is you could edit this down to a half-hour, show, and it'd be a lot better if you were just constantly throwing the jokes and everything. And not a lot of them are that funny or anything. They're barely amusing, but it would work better. The whole caper of the ballet thing and the running round, you get that in these, especially the Marx Brothers stuff. The comedy's dead quick in it, and it's really like Groucho Marx is always rushing round and everything. If you did that and them sequences, then it would probably work. But as a movie, and also I'm laughing about the runtime, but there's it's intentionally 1 hour and 20 because it was obviously that shit. They've cut loads out. It was probably even worse. So there's a lot to be said with this movie and how it got released. But also, I'm quite interested. It's a shame, really, just in that I don't understand how I come across watching that or what it means, whether it is the year of the stitch-up sort of thing.
Yeah. And actually, something as shallow, I wonder if, like, just sticking a fake tash on him. Sticking a fake tash, not just him, but John Turturro, Flat Pfizer. I wonder if, because I was watching it and probably, I don't know, 20 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, this is like those old movies, and I couldn't remember it was being the Marx Brothers. But I think if they fully lent into it and basically said, that's exactly what we're doing, because I guess that's the other thing. I had no idea what this was. I looked at the VHS cover after, and even the VHS cover does have that kind of Three Stooges slapstick feel to it, doesn't it? But yeah, when you start off with the clay animation and then it's just silly, then it took me a while to just orient myself. And so, I wonder, just sticking a tash on him, properly leaning into the Groucho Marx stuff, I wonder if mentally that would have shifted me a bit.
Yeah, possibly, and I think you're right. I think like there's a time and place for this movie would have been, because obviously years ago as well, Dave, there wasn't so much stuff out. Even in '92, there was still cable TV and that, wasn't there? There was movies coming out. There was different types of movies and everything. I mean, there's no, like, you were trying to work out whether you would have even watched this. There's no way I would have watched this. I was fucking riding cowboy, fucking wanking myself silly probably at 14 years old. There's no fucking way I'd be watching this nonsense. Fuck that, Dave. I'd be looking for
not even the middle bit where the woman's on the bed, sort of trying to.
Well, maybe. I'd probably maybe as a compilation thing. I might have recorded that bit as a Chris Phelps private moment, but that's all I was bothered about at that point. My hormones were through the fucking roof, so all I was interested in was any bit of cleavage. I mean, fucking Jet from Gladiators and fucking Baywatch on a Saturday night was when I used to shut the door and fucking enjoy myself. You know what I mean? Anything would get me through it. I remember even watching Neighbours once, just trying to fucking sort myself out, hoping someone would bend over or something.
Fucking Mrs. Mangle.
Yeah, mad. Tell you what, when she went over,
trimming her bushes.
Hey, bouncer wasn't the only thing in that show, Dave. sound proper creepy now, don't I? But you would hunt anywhere for anything. So there's no way I was watching this fucking bollocks at all. But I can appreciate John Turturro's performance, to be fair. I think like there is a bit of merit to what he's trying to achieve, but the movie's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, old Laszlo there being the villain, and I guess that's the other reoccurring theme with these older slapstick movies, like Three Stooges, Marx Brothers, and whatever. You often have these virtuous characters. So you've got this, this sweet young couple. You got this young guy who's obviously trying to break into the ballet industry. You've got, but his girlfriend's trying to be, not trying to be, but the other guy is the great fucking whatever his name is trying to lecture on her and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they end up doing this out by the, out in the sun and everything in front of them. They do this weird fucking Grease dance-off thing. And it's like, oh yeah, they're great and all is well. And, I think the main protagonists that we have, our trio there, they always end up kind of hapless. They always sort of fail, don't they? But,
yeah.
It all works out for someone else. So I think, again, the beats of those things that we enjoyed from the 20s and 30s, they're all kind of here, but I think, like you say, it's a Temu version. Is Temu the new Wish? I'm just thinking as I'm saying that, because it used to be, the Superman from Wish. I seem to remember you saying. So, is Wish not a thing anymore? It's now Temu.
No,
it's
Wish
the Poundland version.
Well, I've moved on from Temu there. I've only had a few things off there. I'm more, obviously Sheen's there in the background for your holiday attire, but I like AliExpress as well, which does a lot of things. So you've got their AliExpress there. DHgate, Dave's another one, but Wish was the one, wasn't it? The old fake special when you're ordering like, The Rock from Wish or whatever. And that's where that comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or Ashley from Coronation Street.
Go on, do it again.
Oh, Uncle Fred.
It's so good.
Oh, I've got my fingers stuck in the big. I can't do it, Dave. It's gone. I've got one line in me. That's it. The fucking voice has gone off then. It's gone.
That's amazing.
I can feel and hear the discord now. Fucking Dave has just pulled, the Highlander, and I've got Ashley from fucking Corrie. Unbelievable.
Oh man. So Chris, anything more? Should we get into our final review?
Let's go.
It's just bang on, like a caricature version of it. Ooh, Uncle Fred, I can't do it. Say
the Mancunian accent, I think.
I mean, there's something about that relationship that is very off, isn't it? Oh, fucking Uncle Fred. It was Uncle fucking Savile, I reckon, but.
Yeah. Well, I'll say no more, Dave. I'll say no more. So anyway, I'm fucking taking the piss. So thanks for picking this, Justin. Like I said, I think this is a terrible, terrible movie. I really can appreciate the Groucho Marx side, although John Turturro's character and his betrayal. But the movie is awful. I think Bob Nelson, Mel Smith are fucking terrible in it. John Savidon, it's the same old romp. And I honestly, as I said, just before we got into the review scores, if they just condensed it into a half-hour slot, there's more to it. You could cut loads of the fat off this and make it to something a bit more enjoyable than this. But honestly, I can't. As much as John Turturro, it's got to go to Alderaan for me, Dave. This is a terrible movie. It's an hour and 20. And apologies, Justin. If it's the year of the stitch up, then I applaud you. Absolutely amazing that you've pulled this one out of the bag. But if it's not and you love it, then I'm blaming it all on Dave. But what I would say is me and Dave have done the work for nobody else to watch this movie. So what an absolute bag of shit. But there you go. Other than the fact you got an Ashley Peacock impression from me. But Dave, what about yourself?
Well, I hate to do this, especially, well, like I say, if it is a stitch up, fantastic. But if if people love this, I can see why maybe some people would like this. But Chris, I thought this was so out of time. I just found the whole experience really jarring. I didn't particularly find any of it funny. I thought, as well, and maybe this is another bias, the fact that you've got John Savidin, you've got Mel Smith there, there's this kind of heavy British influence. So it seems like this play, this farcical play, that's there. And I don't know, and you've got a few Americans in it as well. It just takes me out of it. So I didn't enjoy it. I've liked thinking about it after and thinking, well, I can see what they're going. I mean, Tarantino, gets held up because he's constantly in a loop of paying homage to something, isn't he, in the past? But yeah, I think the fact that he makes that thing his own and, tries to improve on certain things, and the fact that he's not taking something, he's quite often doing exploitation movies as well, isn't he? So they're not the height of cinema. So I don't know. There's something that resonates with me there that just doesn't resonate with me here. So I'm afraid for me, it's an Alderaan. I just never want to see this again. I can't recommend it to anyone unless. Well, no, there's no unless.
Oh, you sure, Dave?
I say, like.
I say, Ashley. Maxine is Mrs. Oh, Maxine. Yeah, she was actually quite. Now he pulled her, I don't know. Fucking unbelievable.
But yeah, so I just think if you've watched this when you were a kid, maybe, or it means something to you, or caught you in a particular time in your life, I could see why people would enjoy this. But yeah, for me, watching it in 2025 just didn't work for me at all.
No, I'm with you, Dave. So thank you, Justin. Anyway, amazing. I've had such a laugh today. Brilliant. So next week's pick is another Patreon pick. It's our good friend Timothy, and something completely different. It's a movie I've never seen, but it's always been on my radar, Dave. So we're going back to 1992. It's a John Woo movie, Dave, which always is a good thing. And this one stars Chow Yun-fat, Dave, and this one is Hard Boiled. So let's get into the trailer.
Fairly certain I've seen this. I just can't remember. All the John Woo stuff kind of blends into one in my memory.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen this. I know Chow Yun-fat was amazing. It still is amazing. Like legendary martial arts and everything.
I honestly think, without doing any research or anything, but without stuff like this, I don't think you have John Wick.
No, I agree. Totally agree. This is visual trailer with no voiceover either, so we do no voiceover. You can hear his guns coming in.
He's an early guy.
What a trailer.
You know what it sort of reminds me a little bit of? That one with Michael Douglas, Black Rain.
Yeah, with Andy Garcia. Oh yeah, I've always seen that. Have you ever seen that movie with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery? The murder mystery type. That's setting like Japan and everything. Right.
Are you sure this is the official trailer?
This is probably the worst trailer ever. It's going the fuck.
It's had 5.3k views. Doesn't seem like a lot for this movie.
Oh my word.
This is action in overdrive, isn't it? Again, 1992, Chris. Same year for Brain Boners.
I know which film I'd have picked out. Yeah, these are trailers, and none of them have got a voiceover, Dave. Trailer.
Yeah.
I know this is well respected. This on YouTube as well. So massive thank you there to Timothy. I'm looking forward to watching that one, to be honest. More than I did for Brain Donors, Dave. But anyway, if you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back @gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honour, and a massive thank you today to Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support for me, myself, and Dave. Love these different films. Honestly, we do. So stupid, some of them, and just funny to talk about as well. So yeah,
if you listen to the last hour or so, it doesn't sound like it, but we do.
we do. Because with me and you through the week, what we always do is it's usually you watches it before me, but you'll be like, "Have you watched it yet?" And if it's a shocker, you just do the old eyes, fucking little. The eyes emoji, or you'll send me one going, well, good luck. Oh, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are little things that build up to when we record on a early Saturday morning. Brilliant stuff, Dave.
Awesome stuff. Well, Chris, one of the reasons I try and watch it a little bit early is because I'm thinking, okay, what kind of song can we put together for this? And so Sunday night I'd watched this and I was like, I don't think I've got anything, was my initial thought. And then I thought, okay, well, can do something around the year 1992. And I thought, well, ultimately I'll try and embrace the spirit of the silliness and what music does that. And I started to think about bands like Madness. And, I used to love their videos. And I remember, even in the early 90s, they kind of had a bit of a renaissance, didn't they? And so I was thinking very much ska. And I was thinking, okay, because again, the ska, it was kind of a fun little genre. It's not my favorite genre in the world, but a lot of the videos were quite fun. And the good thing is, you know what? I'm even going to knock on the camera for this, Chris. If you imagine listening to this one, all you have to do to join in is hold your arms up, pretending like you're running.
I'm going to put my camera on now.
And then, sort of turn around. You can do a bit of that, or you can do a bit of running on the spot. So that's, yeah, exactly. There you go. So you can do a bit of that. So this is a bit of a ska-inspired song that I thought would accompany this tune. So here we go.
That manners feel, Dave.
Yeah, great bass line.
Here we go.
Don't forget to be dancing along.
I am.
shaky at best. The lawyer's tongue sharp, but he's failing the test. Chalk judges cabin to everyone turn, and Robbie's got skills that none you discern. The widow's got money, but they want the prize. She's scheming, they're dreaming, and chaos will rise. With feathers and lawsuits, the stage is set. These three stooges ain't won nothing yet. Got it. Time, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da.
This sounds like proper 80s, early 80s ska.
Yeah. Breathe it out. In court, talking circles again. John box his cap in the lines then. Rocco's on stage, hiding tools in his hand, trying to fix things he don't understand. The widow's fuming, but they got the lead, turning Swan Lake into pure comedy. A ladder of pride, a chandelier's full. Who knew ballet could have them all? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Last night slipping, bats are flipping, strong wings slapping, and dog was laughing.
I thought it was a cab fare.
What's with the ladder?
Time to reach my degree.
Oi, can this plan even work?
Why can't I just be slap on this stick?
Time, 4, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Another good one, Dave.
Yeah, it's really catchy. I've listened to it a few times this week.
It's exactly this one.
Let's go sipping, buzz up flipping. Swan wings slapping, and no one's laughing. Swan wings slapping, and no one's laughing.
So what I like as well about that one, Chris, is it is ska, which, like I say, is not my favourite genre, but in this one you have got the kind of Cockney sounding voice, as opposed to usually it was white guys putting on a Jamaican accent, wasn't it? When you were watching something on Top of the Pops, and you're like, oh fucking hell! Even then, I remember it being a bit weird, but ages like fine milk.
Yeah. No, honestly, I enjoyed this one, Dave, and a good song as well. So despite what I thought of the movie, we've ended with actually a nice tune there. I think that's one of your best ones, to be honest.
Very catchy, very sing-along and simple. But thank you very much, Chris. Going to be a bit interesting change of tone for next week. But thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's odd.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
to death. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. You ain't nothing. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6 months. I must break you.